Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Bush Poppy Farm. We are on the farm today, and the goal over the next 2 days, today's Saturday, so Saturday and Sunday, is to get those two beds that still need to be forked, add the compost layer, maybe get down irrigation, that's less important, and then cover the remaining compost, there'll be a lot left, with a tarp, because Monday through Wednesday we are slated, it's 90% chance at this point, to have heavy rain and high winds. So there will definitely not be any work being done on Monday through Wednesday out here, which means next week, Thursday, probably maybe Wednesday, because there's only a 50% chance of like lingering stuff that day. We will be transplanting then. So that's good because first of all, it's early in the season for the rain to arrive, and it's very needed. We are in a La Nina year now, and in our area, the way La Nina and El Nino work in California is that in El Nino years, it tends to be a lot wetter. And La Nina years, it tends to be drier, but it depends on where you are in the state. So, it's a big state. It's most of the west coast of the country. So where we're at in the Bay Area, there's literally we are on the line. We are on the line where the jet streams go during those two cycles. And so if you live above where we are, in La Nina years, it's actually wetter than normal, and Southern California is drier. And El Nino years, it's the opposite. And that all has to do, it's very complex. It all has to do with ocean currents and the temperatures in the ocean and all that kind of stuff. So that's neither here nor there. For us, it's always a crapshoot. We never really know what we're going to get because we're right in the middle. So that line can drift a little bit here or there. So it's hard to predict for us. So we assume generally in La Nina years that it's going to be drier than usual, but sometimes we get walloped, and I can't complain about that because then we can avoid another long drought. So bottom line is we're looking at our first rain coming, first real rain. Like we had a rain last week and we got almost a 1/4 inch. So that was measurable rainfall. But this is going to be different because it's going to be torrential rain. So we'll have drizzle and stuff, but then we'll get bouts of heavy rain for an hour or two and then not much. So the problem with that is, this time of year, our soils are bone dry. And so that is a risk of landslides and things like that. Don't really have to worry about that here. But it's a possibility. So I do hope we get a good amount of rainfall. I just would love it if it was spread over those 2 days instead of all kind of at once in the middle of one of those days. So anyway, I want to make sure that all the compost doesn't wash away. So we'll definitely be covering what I haven't spread. This big pile right here, we'll definitely be covering as much of that as possible with a tarp that I already have out here and weighting it down with cinder blocks. The other thing we're going to need to take care of on tomorrow is the IBC tote where I gather my water. So hopefully you can see here, you've got the gutter up here that then runs to this downspout, which leads into this big giant IBC tote. So we collect rainwater. This tote holds 275 gallons and it's great. I use it while I'm out here for filling buckets and stuff. But what I have noticed is it has shifted. So this side has lowered pretty dramatically and it's actually pushing on the shed. So what we're going to do is Mike and Dylan are going to come out and help me. They just need to pick it up for me, basically lean it back. The whole thing is on a pallet. So all we're going to do is they'll come over here and grab it and pick it up. It's too heavy right now. I need to drain it today. There is. There's about 75 gallons in here. I'm going to go ahead and drain it because we're about to get a bunch of rain. But it's on a pallet. They will lean it, pick it up, and I will put bricks underneath this side. It's already sitting on cinder blocks, but I'll put bricks under there to raise it up on this side because I don't want it to, when it's full with 300 gallons, almost 300 gallons of water, to collapse into the shed, which it could very well do. So actually, while I'm standing here, I'm going to go ahead and open the valve and drain this all. And the reason I'm draining it is that I keep taking these off because they're polarized and I can't see the screen on the camera. The water that's in there is from last year, or this past rainy season, and it has become very tannic. It doesn't smell bad, but it's dark in color because of the tannins from the oak tree and stuff that fall on the roof. So I want to get some fresh, clean water in there. This is not potable water. This is not water you can drink, but the flowers can drink it just fine. It's also great for filling my watering cans in order to fertilize by hand when I need to do that. So it's really nice to have almost 300 gallons of water out here throughout the year. Because I don't have a spigot. All of our water comes from 1,200 feet back in the other direction, piped in here. So there's no spigot for me to turn on for that. This is it. All right, let me go grab my pitchfork. I need to get started on forking those beds. Would really love to be able to complete forking the beds. There's only 2 left to do for now. And then getting all 3 of those beds covered with compost. That's a big job. Don't know that I'll be able to do it all today, but there's always tomorrow. So that's why I'm trying to get as much done as possible today, so there's less to tackle tomorrow. Because the other thing tomorrow, I need to go into the chicken run and put their rain tarp up so that they can come out of their coop during the day in the rain and they have a dry place to go where they can eat and drink their food. My Buff Orpington Buffy is in the garage in the sick girl crate because I noticed, well, for a couple of months, more than a couple of months, she's been acting extremely deferential to the other hens, walking around with her tail down. At first I thought she was egg bound. She wasn't. I thought maybe she had pasty butt and was like, I gave her a hot bath. That wasn't the problem. She was being very submissive. And I started watching and noticing whenever I would feed them every morning, she was clearly the last one in the pecking order, but she would wait till everybody ate and then she'd go to eat and like 3 of the hens would come and peck at her and then she'd move away. She wouldn't eat. So she's being bullied. Normally in a bullying situation with hens, you will take the bully and you will separate them out. You will put them in their own cage, like a dog crate, inside the run with the other chickens. Keep them separated for about a week to 10 days because that then allows the flock to reorganize their pecking order. And then when you release that bully again, she's at the bottom. And so it kind of restabilizes things. But in this case, there were 3 of the 8 hens bullying Buffy. So last week, I noticed that she was just kind of sitting in the run. I would bring food to her. She would get up and move if she had to, but she really didn't want to. And when she did move, she crouched. So I was worried. I was like, okay, maybe she's sick. I picked her up. She weighed like maybe 1.5 pounds. She has lost so much weight and she looks terrible. Her feathers look terrible. However, she was eating. She was drinking. Her comb is red. She is not laying because of the stress. So I decided to go ahead and isolate her. I brought her into the garage. She's got a nice warm place to be. I've got water with electrolytes and vitamins and minerals in it for her, which she is drinking. She's eating just fine. She's still not standing up and walking around a lot, although today was a little bit better. So what the vet said, I didn't take her to the vet, but I talked to one. They said, seeing as she is alert and bright-eyed, she has nothing coming out of any orifices. Her comb is red and perked like it should be. And as soon as I bring her food, she dives into it and she's drinking and she's pooping just fine. That they think it's probably because of the bullying. She just wasn't eating because she was afraid. And so she lost a lot of weight. And of course, the more a hen declines, the others will basically push it out because they don't want something that can attract a predator. That's just kind of a thing. So I'm hoping that over the next week she will improve dramatically. I'm worried about the fact that she won't walk around normal, but when I pick her up, she lets me extend her legs without any noticeable pain. I can't find any injuries on her. Her feet are nice and clean and healthy looking. So I don't think she's injured, and the vet doesn't either. She also doesn't think it's Marek's disease, because with Marek's, the sciatic nerve gets affected, and one leg, when they're crouching down, one leg will be off to the side, and with Buffy, they're both directly underneath her. She's just like she's relaxing, but she's like that all the time. So, like I said, she's eating great. I made her scrambled egg yesterday. She gobbled that up. This morning I brought it to her. She ate that so fast. Eggs are actually good for them. Cooked eggs are actually good for them. They can eat them raw too, but you don't want to do that because then they will get used to it. They love raw egg. And if an egg breaks in the run, they all run towards it to try to eat it. You don't want them doing that because then they will start eating their own eggs. So she was eating scrambled egg just fine. I'm giving her grit to make sure she can put that in her gizzard and break everything down. She's drinking the water with the electrolytes. So I'm hopeful that in the week or so, we'll be able to start reintegrating her. That part makes me a little nervous because I don't want her to go back downhill again. So we'll just have to see how this goes. In the meantime, if she's away from the flock for 7 to 10 days, they're going to readdress the pecking order. So when I reincorporate her, I am going to have to do the same thing where I put her inside the run in the cage she's currently in to keep her safe for a while, have them all get used to each other again. And then one night I will take her out of that when they're all in their coop asleep and put her in with them. And then they wake up in the morning and it's like nothing ever happened. So chickens are weird that way. All right, enough blather. Let me get started. This thing is still draining over here. I'm gonna get started forking those beds. That's the hardest part. And then we'll start moving compost. these 3 beds are done. Now they still need irrigation. I am not worried about that today because with the winds coming, I would have to really tack them down good. And when there's no plants in here, when you've got the irrigation in fresh soil, the staples don't work as well because the soil is loose on top. And so then we've got the risk of the irrigation lines getting pulled up by the wind. So this is how it's going to be for now. So these 3 beds done. I am definitely not transplanting until after the rains next week. This compost is so hot. I don't think it's done composting. It's really hot. Like if I wasn't wearing gloves, inside the pile, it's like hurts to touch it. It's that hot. So when I spread it here, I'm putting it down. I'm like, woo, boy, it's hot through the gloves. So definitely don't want to put seedlings in that. But a couple days of rain will cool this off just fine, and then they'll be good to go. So I did not put any fertilizer down underneath the compost, and that's by design. Not every plant that I put in the ground is going to want fertilizer, and so I don't want to just blanket do the beds that way. So I do have a crop plan, and when we come time for transplant, I'll give fertilizer to the ones that need it. But also I don't want to overdo it because these seedlings are still very small, and putting too much fertilizer down can really shock them, burn their roots. So you got to be careful when they're really small like this. Now, these 2 Lisianthus beds, which are finally looking good, it's taken literally all season for this. They are still producing flowers. They're giving me another flush. That is awesome. I don't have any more events coming up, but I do have I take that back. I do have some more events coming up, not weddings. I do have a holiday, well, I have a holiday wreath workshop, which we won't be using these for, but I also have a Thanksgiving centerpiece workshop. And if these guys are still going by then, and they might be, I will be harvesting these for that. So all these beds are going to get, when they're done, once we go through a couple of frosts and they're like died back, we'll cut them down to just little rosettes, and then I'll come through with compost and side dress everything. I'm not going to cover them all with compost because I want to make sure that I don't suffocate the plants. So I'll side dress everything with compost, and then most likely I will cover these 2 beds with hoop and frost cover just to kind of keep them good. Like I said, we're in zone 9B, they should be totally fine, but occasionally we get really cold nights in the 20s, and that's okay if it's just a couple of hours, but if it's like all night, like 8 or 9 hours of 20 degrees, that's a serious problem. So I will come through with row cover to do that, to treat them, but they are finally producing flowers. I mean, they've been doing that for a little while, but this is more, they're getting to be more the size that they should be 3 months ago. So these 2 beds are going to be perennial Lisianthus beds. We're going to try that. I did order more Lizzie just in case something catastrophic happens and they don't survive the winter. So I do have more Lizzie coming, which is fine because this part of this bed is all scabiosa that's going to come out. There's space here for more Lizzie. There's space at the end of both of these beds for more Lizzie. And I can turn the raised zinnia bed into a Lisianthus bed as well. Right now it's got zinnias in it. It had tulips in it for the spring. It's going to have ranunculus in it over the fall into the spring. So there's lots of places I can put them. Plus I can still build 2 more 40-foot beds down in the perennial section next to the mums, and those can be perennial Lisianthus beds if I want to open these back up for annual growth. So that is the plan there. Still lots of beds to clear, and we can do that now because the wedding is over, and those plants definitely will not survive any frosts. It's zinnias, marigolds, and a little bit of chocolate lace flower left. Everything's looking really rough. So those will come out maybe tomorrow. Come out and take them all out tomorrow. And then I can top those with compost. It'll get rained on, and then we can transplant next week. Normally I want to flip a bed into a single day, taking out the living thing, putting the living thing back in, because the longer time you have without something living in your soil, the higher the chances are that your soil life will die because it has nothing to eat. So this is not my ideal, but it's the way we have to do it now. So, and normally these beds would have had a lot more growing in them, but it was a tough growing season. And again, I had a terrible time putting a fork in the ground in the lower half of this middle bed here. So I put stakes, wooden stakes, where that hard soil starts. And I'm gonna wait to plant those two sections until very early spring. I'll do second succession, I don't know, Daucus or Almy or whatever I wanna put in there. By that time, the compost, the rains, the gypsum should have loosened it up quite a bit, and I'll keep going through there and forking that area. And then once that feels good, I can go ahead and plant that. So it's good to always have a space for your second succession stuff. That's what we're going to use that for. It's definitely not ready for planting now because the seedlings would struggle too much and they wouldn't survive. That's gonna be it for me today. I've got some errands to run. We've got a bunch of family birthdays coming up next week and the week after, so I need to go out and get cards and gifts and stuff. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden. And now that it's probably already hit first frost for some of you in the northern reaches, I hope you have either a lovely fall garden you can enjoy, or you are starting to dream about your spring garden. Take care, you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.